And you got to be able to go out there on your own.
Yeah.
Because when you first start doing something, it's hard to go out there on your own because you're not gonna have the support. You're just not.
Facts.
All right, they're gonna want to see a couple events.
Yeah.
They're gonna want to see how the money coming in. They're gonna see what you're willing to do. A lot of times, stuff that we do is not specifically for us.
For real.
It's to affect another person who's gonna deal with a mother that's gonna be sick and got to go through that. So now you're already the village to help that person get through what they have to deal with. That's why it is important to post what you do. It is important.
Yeah. Hey, I turn that pressure into power. I turn that hate into hope. I turn that fear into faith. With my back on the ropes, I turn that pressure into power. I turn that hate into hope. I turn that fear into faith. With my back on the ropes. What you know about being down and out?
All right, welcome to another episode of the Isle of Winter podcast. I am the maestro, Fly Guy HG, man. We have a great guest, my big brother, man, coming through this to bless the table with some conversation, some wise words, some great inspiration, giving the kids the game. Mr. Kids in Shape, Mrs. Sisters in Shape, a philanthropist. Man, I'm talking about book bag drives, making sure the kids have all the necessary things they need when they're going back to school. Someone who is a caregiver for the community, an amazing, amazing human being, man. My big brother, Seymour Loftman, Mr. Kids in Shape.
Yes,
what up,
sir.
baby?
Yes, sir. Appreciate you having me, bro. It's awesome.
Hey, listen, man. The pleasure is all ours, bro. We appreciate you for blessing the table with a conversation that's about to be amazing. I got to keep my eyes on the clock because I already know we could be in here for 10 hours.
We're gonna be talking for a while.
So I gotta be very strategic with how I do this.
I keep my answers short too. So
Nah,
hey,
but give them the game though. You know what I'm saying? I need you to give them the game like you give me the game. You feel what I'm saying? And that's the reason why I'm super excited for bringing you on and giving these people what I be experiencing. You get what I'm saying? So without further ado, man, how you doing, bro? How's your mind? How's your body? How's your spirit? How's everything going?
I'm good, man. I'm actually in a really good headspace, just mentally, man. I feel, a lot has transpired in the last year. A lot of things has changed just with life.
Yeah.
A lot of transition, I would say. It's a year of transition, and I'm able to chase my goals and get to where I want to go to. I have more opportunities than I did before in the past, so to be doing what I'm doing right now, and it's been a long process, but I'm starting to see some, fruits to the labor that I've been putting in.
100%. You talk about opportunities that are presenting themselves. What kind of opportunities have presented themselves as of late?
Recently, Kids in Shape has picked up. Mm-hmm. So I'm able to have my business at 3 different schools.
That's
right.
Fire,
so our
bro.
goal is to open up and try to get Kids in Shape to as many schools as possible. God showed me this vision a while ago, and now as we're getting closer, I think other people are starting to notice what's taking place, and they're starting to take, I want to be a part of that. So now it's like, okay, how do I find out who's worth being a part of what I'm trying to do and what I'm trying to build, and just trying to, find the next best thing, because I do feel like this generation, a lot of these kids, they don't exercise as much. They're on the iPads a lot. They get home. Remember back in the days, we used to go outside,
and they had to force us back inside.
Yes. Now it's like, no, I want to stay inside. I don't want to go outside as much. So I kind of feel like, with my business and what I do, I'm able to reach and touch, as many kids as I can.
And you just had a field day. You brought back field day. And I don't know whether this thing, saying that makes me feel old, or, because if you remember field day, we aunties, we're uncles now. Yeah. We're responsible for the barbecues now. You brought back field day to Watkins Elementary?
I did.
How was that?
It was great, man. They weren't able to go to the camp that we had. So Miss Torres, who works at the school, she's been there since you've been there.
Yeah.
She was like, well, a lot of kids not gonna be able to go to the camp. So would you be interested in coming out and doing a field day for our 5th graders before they go to 6th grade?
Ooh,
and I was like, you know what? Yeah, I would. Yeah. And that's part of me giving back of, just trying to find, ways to get into the community and, help these kids because it does take a village to raise these children. And I just want to be a part of that village.
Facts.
That's
amazing, bro. Because when I seen it, I was like, boy, it brought back. Remember, I'm talking about, I was back there on that same exact field, man, looking at these kids. It brings a sense of joy to me to see, like, this is the new generation of Watkins Elementary students. And I was once in their shoes, man, and to see them, to be able to get out there and run around like we used to run around, and like you said, not sit on iPads all day. That's dope, bro. Yeah. So I feel like we about to get into it because I got something I want to pick your brain on.
Of course.
Before we get to it, let's go ahead and get into this dreamer's toast because somebody said it couldn't be done, but he with a chuckle replied that maybe it couldn't, but he would be one that wouldn't say so till he tried. So he buckled right in with a trace of a grin on his face. If he worried, he hit it. He started to sing as he tackled that thing that couldn't be done, and he did it. Salute, my brother.
Appreciate you, man. Thank you.
All day to all the dreamers. All right. So I want to start off by asking you, man. As I know, just like me, you are really into motivational speeches, books, bodies of work that make you become a better person. And I was reading a book recently, and it spoke about imagination. And it said that imagination is a blessing that God's given us because imagination is allowing you to take a trip to your future, come back to your present, and plan to get there. Mm-hmm. How important is imagination to you?
I think it's everything because the older we get and the more things we go through in life, it hardens our heart.
100%.
And then reality starts to set in. It's like, I don't think that's possible. But that childlike, what the Bible speaks about, having that childlike, love and certain things, I feel like that is something that you don't want to lose. And because life happens and situation happens, we kind of lose that a little bit. Mm-hmm. But it's me personally, I'm the type of person that I am a childlike. That's my personality as a person. Like, I like to enjoy myself, have a good time. I don't want to be super serious all the time. Mm-hmm. Let me enjoy life. Let me enjoy the moments that I have because there's not always going to be presented to you. So, and it was hard. It was a struggle, especially, when you're in a situation where there's coaching or you're teaching, mm-hmm. which is what I do. It was hard for me to continue that, that imagination that I had because reality set in, life happened, and I had a decision to make of, man, do I let this harden my heart, mm-hmm. or do I turn around and turn this into something that can be positive? And that's kind of what, I did with my time.
And you definitely hit it on the head when you talk about how life has a way of hardening your heart, and it robs you of that inner child. So when we talk about being robbed of imagination, are we robbed of it, or does the term change? Does imagination turn into vision?
That's a good point. Yeah, I agree.
Because as a child, he's like, man, he has a big imagination. But then as an adult, they say, that boy got vision.
He got vision.
So are we robbed of that, or does the term just change?
I think that you're right. I do think the term changed, but again, when you're struggling with a mom that might be sick, mm-hmm. or you're dealing with a sibling that might not be doing well, or auntie just got diagnosed with this, I think those things actually takes away from your imagination, mm-hmm. and sometimes your vision. But you have to have that one-track mind of that focus of, I'm going to still focus on this even though I feel like the world around me is falling apart.
Yeah.
Keep that same focus because, you got people depending on you.
Right.
So I definitely do feel like, as you get older, it does become into vision. But if your heart is hardening and you've had a lot of losses, there's no excuses. You still got to get it done.
For sure.
So that's something that I've tried to tell myself of, man, there's no excuses. You have to get it done. Mm-hmm. There's no excuses. So yeah.
100%. Talking about, dealing with, family issues and things of that nature. Mm-hmm. You experienced a loss, losing a parent at a young age. Can you take us through that? Like, what were the emotions? How do you see it changed you as a young man to a grown man today?
Man, that was tough. That was like the first time I went through losing somebody so close to me. Mm-hmm. But I was in college. So I was like my senior year, and I was what we call in the world. Mm-hmm. You know, I was coming home from college. I went to Eastern Illinois.
Yep.
So when I would come home, I only had a week of spring break or 2 weeks of Christmas break. So instead of spending more time, what I probably should have with my mom as she was kind of deteriorating before she passed, I was in the world. I was going out, enjoying myself, going to the beach. And then by the end of my trip, it's like, oh, I got to leave. And I didn't spend no time with my mom.
Right.
So it was hard for me to watch. And it did shape me into a certain level of, you know, I didn't know what to do. You know, I didn't know who to turn to. I had my brothers and my sisters, but at the same time, it was hard for me to see her like that in that way. And, you know, it was something that I wouldn't wish on nobody, man. But eventually you got to know that everybody must go. And I feel like when I did lose my mom, it kind of got me closer to God, because I did have a lot of questions. And I didn't understand why it would happen the way that it did happen. So I would say when I did lose my mom, it definitely got me closer to God. It was something that I was on a search for, and that's sometimes how he gets your attention sometimes.
100%.
You know, he'll take a loved one away from you, or he'll make someone have to go through certain things to get your attention.
Right.
And sometimes someone says, is it better to go to a barbecue or a funeral? Right? Because when you go to a barbecue, right, you're able to enjoy yourself. You're having a good time.
And
But when you go to a funeral, you have to look at your reflection of your life and where you are.
Yeah.
And are you able to get to that point of, are you taking life serious enough?
100%.
You know, so.
Bro, I have this thing that I always say, and I heard it as a kid, where somebody has said, you know how they say life is short? Somebody said, man, life isn't short. People just wait too long to take it serious. By the time they take life serious, they 60. And it's like, bro, how much more life you think you got? Like, you should have been taking it serious. So I encourage a lot of young cats. I'm not telling you to stop having fun. I'm not trying to rob you of your imagination.
Of course not.
Bro, still be who you are. Enjoy yourself, because life is about experiences. People think like, oh, I'm finna wild out, get a girl, get married. Bro, life it's not that simple.
No doubt.
You feel what I'm saying? Like, you gotta, certain things, I understand you wanna avoid certain things, but bro, it's gonna come a point where we're humans and we're like naturally rebellious. So somebody tell us not to do something, you're naturally gonna think to yourself, why are they telling me not to do that?
I'm gonna do it.
I'm gonna do it anyway. So
I'm gonna do it.
Go do it. Like, find out that it's really not that it's not that good. It's not that important. It's not that fun. And then eventually you're over it. It doesn't mean that urge to do it goes away. It's just that you've already experienced it and you realize it's not worth it.
That's true. So
you understanding what that felt like? Does that give you an urge to put smile on people's faces?
It does. There's a saying that says, nobody remembers what you do for them. They remember how you made them feel.
100%.
So
100%.
that's so important to me with all the giving back and the nonprofit stuff I do with Kids in Shape, because I'm not going to lie, when I first started, I got the paperwork and everything done for the nonprofit. I'm like, oh, man, here we go. I'm excited.
Yeah.
Hey, first back-to-school event.
Yeah.
And I realized, oh, I need people to help me donate. Like, I need people to donate. And I was like, oh, this is going to be harder than I thought. Like, hold on. I need people that I can trust that really rock with me. And that's kind of why posting, like, I was never a person that liked to post.
Bro, I
don't like to post.
Like, I do certain things on my, like, for myself, and I never forget. Man, hey, shout out to my agent, man. Shout out to Nate. He linked me with someone who's, he's a marketing, one of the marketing guys, and he helps you to build your image and build your brand. And, we got on the phone call and we was chopping it up, and he was like, what are certain things you into? I was like, man, got the clothing line. I'm into giving back, philanthropy, stuff like that. And so he seen my page. He was like, bro, I just looked at your Instagram. You look conceited. And a part of me was like, bro, what? Like, I kind of felt some kind of way, because I'm like, bro, I'm the furthest thing from conceited. But I had to, like, Mark, chill. Listen to, like, be receptive to what he's telling you. And try to understand why he's saying this. And right as soon as I told myself that, it hit me. And I was like, I see what he's talking about. He was like, bro, you tell me you give back and do all this other stuff, I don't see it. And I was like, bro, I don't do it I do that for me. Like, I don't do that for the world to see. He like, bro, listen to me. Let the world see you, bro. You trying to hide yourself in the world, but then you want all this other stuff, but the world don't see you as that. So they're gonna make their own They're gonna make their own assumptions of who you are.
I agree.
And ever since then, that's when I started to post the things that I was doing. And it kind of felt cringy to me a little bit at first. But then I was like, bro, you tripping. Nobody say nothing when I'm posting touchdowns. Ooh, but the moment I start posting me giving back and doing all that, why you posting that?
And you got to be able to go out there on your own.
Yeah.
Because when you first start doing something, it's hard to go out there on your own because you're not going to have the support. You're just not.
Facts.
All right, they're gonna want to see a couple events.
Yeah,
they're gonna want to see how the money coming in. They're gonna see what you're willing to do. That's why it is important to post what you do. It is important.
100%.
I say all the time, man. My mentor Tone, man, he always tell this guy's been with me since 2009.
Mm-hmm.
And you're talking about a guy that taught me. Actually, it might be earlier than that. Just everything about business and how to conduct yourself. That's why everything through when y'all was in high school and. You know, a lot of stuff that I learned came from him. And he said, CC, if it wasn't documented, it didn't happen. If you're in the nonprofit world.
I'm telling you.
If it ain't documented, you can go around and tell everybody, I did this, I did this. Oh, where's the documentation?
Right.
Because people are going to want to see it 10, 15 years later. So that's something that I was able to get out of the comfort zone. Like, man, I don't want to post. I don't want people looking at like I'm trying to be self-absorbed or I'm trying to show people, look at me.
Yeah.
You know, but I was like, I had to use this pain and this purpose and the things that I've gone through to try to get through to other people that's going to be affected in their own lives. See, a lot of times stuff that we do is not specifically for us.
For real.
It's to affect another person who's going to deal with a mother that's going to be sick and got to go through that. So now you're already the village to help that person get through what they have to deal with.
And the crazy thing is, you obviously know me outside of this.
Yes.
You know, I wouldn't never know open book. Mm-hmm. Like, so for a lot of people who know me, knew I wouldn't. Like,
market ain't finna open up.
But the thing about it is, I had to realize, like, dog, God, for one, don't let what God put you through go in vain. He did that for a reason, bro. You thought it was just for you? Bro, people. All right, let's get biblical. You know how God finds his way to walk into a room whenever we talking.
Go.
But it's like when we talk about the calling that God got on our lives, but the calling he said, "I have plans to prosper you and not to." He told you what it was he had for you.
Give you a future and hope. Jeremiah 29:11.
So like the thing about it is, man, one of the main things, if not the main thing that God has called upon all of us, is to help others. So I'm putting you through this not just to make you better, but I need you to use that to help somebody else. Amen. And once I realized that, I became just a tad bit more vulnerable and a tad bit more willing to open up and tell people my story. Because I'm like, dog, something I might say could literally talk this person off of a ledge.
Yeah.
And I've seen that happen in real time. So I'm just like, ever since then, I said, man, I guess I'm going to let the world see me. And so that's why, I decided to get onto something like this and do things that I do on social media. But I feel like it's super, super important, man. You never know. It could be somebody literally sitting right next to you, got the same story as you. The same trials and tribulations that you have faced, past tense, they're going through right now, and they have no idea how to get out of it. And something simple that you might say could literally change their life. So, bro, I encourage you all to just be a little bit more open. Yeah. Because I know some of us grow up in communities where being friendly ain't tolerated, being open ain't tolerated. Like, we're taught to just hold everything in and not speak about it.
And then you hold all that stuff in, and then the right person ticks you off, and then they get all of that.
All of it.
In one sitting.
And what could have, and all that's built up inside of you, which could have been something positive, just
it's a lot.
Created something negative.
I agree.
So
that's why I don't have any regrets with anything that I've done because, like I said, this last year it's been a challenge for me because once the business picked up, I lost a lot more time. So that I lost a lot of time with my family.
Yeah.
I lost time where I could have invested into, for instance, I left the barbershop today and, my barber just lost his dad. So he got to fly down to Jamaica this week. And I'm like, man, I ain't talked to my dad in like 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
So on my way here, I'm like, let me call my dad and check on him. You know what I'm saying? So it's like little stuff like that. Like as you get older, you realize, life is not guaranteed for the young.
100%.
So even as you get older, we know that we think we have time. We don't have time.
No, we don't.
But people walk around like, oh, this is supposed to go this way. I have time. Just be no, we don't have time. You gotta continue to find out what your purpose is, and
You gotta keep
lead in that direction.
moving. But when you talk about speaking to your parents, right?
Yeah.
And I'm guilty of it sometimes. Like I go stints without speaking to my parents like that. You know, me and my mom, we bond over TikTok. She be sending me all these little TikTok videos. So that's how we stay in contact.
Yeah.
But you know, my pops, I talk to my pops every day. You get what I'm saying? But like, I actually was talking to somebody the other day, man, and it was just kind of seeing your parents for who they are. I forgot the guy's name. He got a podcast. I think it's Rogan or whatever.
Joe Rogan.
Joe Rogan.
Joe Rogan.
And he was talking about the 3 phases that a boy goes through with his father.
Mm-hmm.
As a child, your father's your hero. Then you become a teenager, he becomes the villain. Then you become an adult, he becomes human. And I was like, bro, that's real talk.
That's deep.
Because as a teenager, that's when you're going through all your little teenage phase. You're getting your feelings. You know, your stuff starting to drop, and you think you know something.
Yeah.
So then your dad, when he telling you no, you think he against you. And then you become human. You realize, bro, the same things that he went through, I'm going through too. So damn, my dad he cared about me. He was really. But I started to think about that, and I was like, the weirdest thing is when you realize that your mother is a woman. Like obviously she's a woman. Obviously. But when you realize she's just a woman, because she was superwoman your whole life. It was nothing she couldn't do, especially for some of us who grew up in single family homes with just your mom. She figured everything out.
Yeah.
But then you became an adult, and every single little thing she calling you, can you come do this? I don't know how to do this. And you like, bro, what happened to superwoman? Bro, your mama's just a woman, bro.
And mindset changes.
It changes.
It changes, especially from that youth to like the middle age. As you get older, like you say, she's just human. We realize, okay, that imagination that we talked about versus the vision. As a kid, our imagination is our parents are our superheroes.
Absolutely.
And then we get to a teenage years, and we're like, I'm gonna figure this out for me.
Yeah.
I don't need my parents.
And then I feel like my parents don't like me because every time I ask them to do something, they say no.
They say no because they're protecting you. And then you get to your adult, you're like, oh, I get what they were trying to protect me from. Yes.
You know what I'm saying? And hopefully it ain't too late. Hopefully what they were trying to protect you from didn't eat you up.
Mm-hmm.
So it's insane to see that evolution. And then when you got little ones, you like, boy, you was just born yesterday. You 7 already? And if that don't tell you that life is short or that you don't got time like that, you better hurt. I don't know what else to tell you. You feel what I'm saying?
I see that all the time with my kids at school, because I've gone through like maybe 4 sets of kids. I would say 2 sets where they've come in at kindergarten and now these kids are about to be 11th and 12th graders. I'm like, man. And even in football, I'm like, dang, I've coached 4 levels of different kids that's come for 4 years. It's like 5 different levels. And I'm like, man, this is a lot. You know, it's a lot to go through and just watch everybody's process while your process is starting to feel stagnant.
Right.
You're like, wait a minute, everybody else around me is growing and chasing their dreams.
Right.
What are you doing? And that was my calling in like 2018. I think it was after our 2018 class when we had Pat, Tyson, Swartz, Chatfield, Jade. Like after that year, I was like, man, do I still want to coach? Man, like these kids are chasing their dreams. They're doing what God called them to do. And I'm being obedient where I am. And then I felt some sense of like I wasn't as happy anymore. Like it didn't feel as great to win anymore. It was just like another thing on the checklist.
Right.
And that's when I was probably at my most unhappiest of, man, I don't know how long I can do this, but I didn't know what to do.
Right.
You know, it was just like, all right, how do I find something out of what I'm already involved in? And that's kind of was my transition, you know, outside of coaching.
Got you. Okay, outside of coaching, Sisters in Shape.
Yes.
Talk about how you.
See, I sit up for that.
Yeah, go ahead and get right. Let's take us through the origin of Sisters in Shape and how the evolution of it.
Man, Sisters in Shape started in 2010, and this was when I was like getting ready for my combine. I went to Eastern Illinois. It was an all-conference safety. You know, but I knew that I was missing something that maybe the next level needed. Yeah. But I went through the combine process. And then through that process, I used to train in our student rec center at my old college. Yeah. My alma mater. And then when I would notice, I was like, okay, I'm training for this, but I'm like, man, I don't see a lot of African American women in here.
Yeah.
You know, it was other people in there, and I was like, why are we not in here? So then that was my point of starting to look up statistics of, you know, why don't African American women exercise as much. Now, this is 2010.
Yeah.
It's not like that today.
Right.
But it's 15 years ago of, man, why are we not exercising? So I started doing research. A lot of it was because of their hair. You know, they didn't want their hair to sweat out, right? Because you're getting your hair done.
Hey,
that's $150 for the hair.
Boy, one thing about our sisters, they do not play about their hair, boy.
They ain't finna get in that gym and sweat it out. They just paid $150 for that. So I was like, oh, okay, I get it. So I started looking up ways to helping them to be able to keep their hair, but still be able to get into the weight room.
Active. Yeah,
but it was nothing that I was able to find. So I was like, man, I really want to affect, you know, women that look like me, and I want us to exercise more. And that's how it started. So I sat on the idea, and I went to my roommate, he's also Haitian as well. It's actually my best friend, and he was like, I went to him like, man, what do you think about me starting a company to help women of minorities to stay in shape? Yeah. You know, and he was like, man, let's go ahead and sleep on it. So we woke up the next morning. He kept saying, that's a good idea. That's a good idea. Throughout the whole next day, that's a good idea. So then I was like, all right. So then I went back to Tone. Hey, Tone, what do you think I should do? And he already knew the game plan to kind of get me to where I needed to be. And he was like, man, get your logo made, start the business, and start your first event. So I did my first event in 2010 after I graduated from college. I did my first event back at Eastern Illinois with the Black Student Union club that they had there, and we were able to get women that were at the school, but you know, a lot of women, they were from like local areas around the way, and we did an event, and I had these professors come out and speak about why it's important for, you know, African American women to exercise. And after I did that, then I kind of had the vision to come back home, and that's when I came back home and started coaching football.
That's what's up. Now, do you think that coming back home to coach football kind of took a bit of your focus off of Sisters in Shape?
It did, because again, life was lifing.
Absolutely.
You know, so I was like, I need to pay for stuff.
Yeah.
I can't live off my mom and my dad forever. What plan do I have to leave here? And that was hard. That's we talk about all the time off camera of, man, that gray area of what's your last play of, if it's high school, if it's college.
It's like, what do I do now?
If you do get the chance to go to the pros, that last play, and then what you're going to do to start off your real world. Because I think football protects us a lot of the times.
100%.
Because we don't have, when do we ever hear to say someone tell us no?
But
like, everything you want is going to be given to you. You have access to just so much.
And your whole entire life is scheduled.
And you're talking about somebody I didn't play in the NFL. Like, I played in college, and I understood, okay, they're building a building at my college before we play Hawaii. Oh. So as I get older, I'm like, oh, that was the money that y'all used from us playing Hawaii.
Yeah.
You guys started on the building before we even went to play the game.
So they already done cut the check.
They already cut the check. So I'm like, man.
Yeah, fact.
Understanding like, oh, okay, this is how life is. Like, it's a business.
Nah, for sure. For sure.
You know, you're a walking business. I should be an LLC.
Yeah.
Shout out to Money Bag. You know? For real, we are all walking businesses. And that's kind of where my transition from football was. When I got to Harriet, I was like, man, I need to do something. So that's when I jumped into coaching. And then when I started coaching, I was like, oh, I really love this, because that's all I knew was sports. So everything I knew was around coaching sports or being around the game.
Yeah.
And that was everything that I wanted, because it felt comfortable for me.
Okay, let me ask you this. Do you think that when you were done playing ball, coaching was your way to stay connected to the game? Because I feel, and the reason why I asked that is because a lot of people, they ask me like, "Bro, you finna coach?" I'm like I don't have an urge to coach. I don't mind it, but I don't have an urge to coach. Like, I feel like not a lot, but there's a pretty decent group of guys. Once the game is over and that ball go flat, this is their way to stay attached to the game. I feel like I walked away and I'm content. Like, now, do I want to give back, mentor, and help uplift the young men coming up today? Absolutely. Does it have to be through sports? No. In whichever way, shape, or form it is, whether it's through this platform, whether it's through different various organizations that I'm a part of, I'm cool with that. I don't need to go do it through football, because I feel like some people are kind of for one, they can't let go of the game. For two, they're trying to live vicariously through some of these kids. So that's why I posed that question. Do you feel like was a part of you still? Because obviously we love the game. I still love the game. But was that your way of staying attached because you couldn't detach yet?
Yeah, I didn't know nothing else.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I knew.
Yeah.
It was either that or music.
Yeah.
Like those are only two things that I was like, I'm really good at these two. Like,
how'd you get into DJing, bro? And not everybody know about it's that DJ CC, baby.
Man, I got into DJing in high school. My brother's best friend is Archery Denson. He was the leading rusher in Broward County until our alumni, Terrence McFadden, actually broke the record. So that's somebody I've been looking up to since I was younger.
Yeah.
I've seen him go off to leading rusher in Broward County, go to college, leading rusher at Notre Dame. Like, this is somebody I watched on Saturdays. Like, this man be coming in my house playing college football 2014.
Yeah.
You know, and I seen him on TV. He's playing against Florida State.
Right.
Then he gets drafted, and I'm like, yo, then he leaves that, goes into coaching. And now he's coaching for the Arizona Cardinals, coaching running backs for the Arizona Cardinals. But in high school, it's crazy because I had this transition as well, too, myself, where he was like, man, I don't want this DJ set. He bought it, and he was like having parties and stuff. He was like, man, I don't want to do this anymore. I want to get into more of the Christian world.
Gotcha.
And listening to, staying away from this type of music, and I want to get in this more type of music. So he kind of gave it away to me.
Yeah.
And then when he gave it away, I was like, and it's the old DJ set with the CDs.
Yeah.
Man, I've had it all the way through college. I mean, I would say that DJ set probably made me over. I mean, it ain't like a lot of money now, but I probably made over 30 grand.
In college,
just off of that DJ set alone, because I did high school parties, then I got to college, and then, where I went, we had like 25, 30 Florida boys, so we started throwing Florida boys parties.
Yeah. That boy had the pack jam at Easter.
Man, we playing all the sliders. I had all the music, but we in like Chicago.
Yeah.
So I was getting invited to like sororities, fraternities. I was doing Black Student Union parties, like 2,000 people.
Yeah.
And I'm DJing, they're hearing grind mode in Chicago.
Yeah.
But it was such a vibe, man. Like, man, I had some of the best time DJing, man. And then from there, the transition kind of happened because every time we would go out, we would get into it with like, people from other towns like Chicago, because they didn't understand how we were when we would go out. And then that was when I started making music.
Yeah. Okay.
That was a transition to, kind of get with my cousin, Ridiculous Row, and then, Norris and 3G, and, kind of we started making music. We're not going to go out anymore. I kind of stopped DJing. I was like, man, let's start making music.
Yeah.
And then, I knew Norris rapped, and that's kind of how I got into the producing and creating, instrumentals or hooks for, artists.
So you used to do a lot of mic checks, and them mic checks used to go crazy. Would you say that was one of your favorite parts about DJing and being in the music space?
It was, because I get to express how I feel. Music is kind of those things you get to express how you feel. So I was able to get out a lot of emotions that I wouldn't say to people.
Yeah.
But I was able to put it on wax and feel good about it.
Yeah.
And be like, you know what? Let me put this out here. And at some point when we were in college, we kind of did like 2 or 3 different CDs of mic checking. So like, it was just a way for me to kind of detox from just life, man. Like whether it was losing mom or losing kids, or just kind of seeing how the world is, or seeing the real world, that imagination that we have as young kids. And as we get older, like, man, this is the reality of my life right now. How do I get this out of a form? Because I don't want to use it in a form of violence. I don't want to use it in a way of, man, now I'm going to curse this person out or say something disrespectful to them, knowing that it's not them, it's actually me. But I don't know how to channel this energy and get it out in a positive way.
Yeah.
So mic checking was something I've, obviously from Broward County, that's something it's big here.
Facts.
I grew up on Psycho and Man and Spoke Dog, the Fofo Boys, and just, Jam Pony Express, Jay Green.
Bro, what?
I mean, I grew up on that. I still got the CDs at the house right now today, man. So like I studied them, and I didn't think I can do it. It just kind of was something when I got to college and we realized, man, we're going to stop going out. Because every time we go out in college, we was getting into it. I was like, man, we're going to stop going out. Let's start making music. So that's when me and a close of my best friends really today, we start mic checking and kind of use it as a way of express to get our emotions out.
That's what's up, bro. That's what's up. Yeah. All right, and you mentioned obviously we talked about the fact that you lost a parent. Fatherhood, man, parenthood. Being that you lost some kids, which did inspire Kids in Shape. What does that feel like? And if you can share anything that can help someone going through that to get, what does that feel like when you're going through that?
It's crazy. As you asked me the question, it hurts.
Mm-hmm.
It still hurts. It's just something and it's crazy. After I lost Mom, it was like, all right, God.
Yeah.
I'm following your direction. I'm gonna follow your way. I'm gonna stay in the direction that you want me to be. Because now you're showing me stuff in your world that's happening like right now. And I'm like, oh, this is real.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I lost my first child in college, with my baby mom at the time, I didn't know what to really expect. His name was Elijah.
Mm-hmm.
He lived for about 7.5, 8 months. He was born on December 10th, and this was like 2010.
Mm-hmm.
And then me and my baby mom at the time, we separated, and then we ended up getting back together. And then we had a set of twins, which was Zion James and Ira Chris Loftman.
Mm-hmm.
And you said something earlier about not letting things go in vain.
Mm-hmm.
That was something. It's a crazy story because all three of my kids, even though separated by 12 years, are all born on December 10th.
No, that's crazy.
So, like, we had a kid December 10th, 2010 or 2009, and then once we got together again and we had the twins, they were born December 10th, 2019. So you got to imagine.
09 and that's.
So you got to imagine, like, and,
Damn.
Me and, my girl at the time, my wife at the time, we it was hard, man, because now we're questioning God.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And we're at this crossroad of, I don't get it. Why
me?
Why are you doing this? Yeah, why me?
Why me?
To the point that it was so hard, bro, I even thought about suicide. I don't. It's probably the first time I've said it out loud to people, but it's something I even thought about. It's like, I don't have no point to be here, right? You don't want to keep none of my kids, God. I've followed your way, even though I'm not perfect, right? And that's another thing too. Is like we want God. We want to put God in a box. He's not in a box.
No, facts.
Right?
Facts.
And I think that was a lot of my I wouldn't say my issue, but just what I was wrestling with at the time. Like, man, dog, like, okay, and it gets worse at the time because I had we had both twins, right? And then she had the kids, and then 2 days later, Zion passed away.
Mm-hmm.
But before Zion passed away, my grandma was admitted in the same hospital. So I'm literally in the hospital, Plantation General, going from downstairs, seeing my twins, and going upstairs to the ICU to see my grandma. And I was back and forth for like a week. And then my grandma passed like 5-6 days after my first twin. So that was the point of, okay, I have no point to be here. So if anybody thought about suicide, I've been there. Mm-hmm. I've been at that point of, I don't know if I want to be here anymore. But when you do something like that, you don't just affect yourself, you affect a 100%. Lot of other people around you. You don't see it because you just did it to yourself, and you're not able to really see the effect of how much people actually cared and loved about you.
Absolutely.
Loved you. So I really thank my wife at that time she really talked me out of it, of just the thought of it. And then once I lost grandma, and then 2 or 3 months later, I lost Irie Chris, which was my second twin.
Mm-hmm. Bro, it's when you speak about that, I think it's a lot of people that might deal with that might have suicidal thoughts that would never speak on it. So, bro, I'm gonna give you flowers because especially as a man, bro, it take you a lot of strength to even say that out loud, because that's not something that you want to express. Because for us as men, especially as black men growing up in black communities, where it may feel like a sign of weakness.
Of course,
like I gave up. But as crazy as my mind be going, bro, I be thinking like, dog, are some people bound to be S word in life. Like, it's like, damn, like, every time I try to make something shake, it go left. And when you talk about questioning God, it's like, bro, what did I do? What did I do? It make you start believing in reincarnation. You start thinking, bro, did I do something messed up in my past life? Like,
did
what?
Somebody before me do something wrong?
Like, why am I going through this? You feel what I'm saying? And the worst part about it is when you watch other people that you feel like, man, bro, I'm a way better human being than that person. Why in the world is everything happening for them and not for me? And I was watching Jamie Foxx's special, and he said this, bro, hit me like a ton of bricks. He was asking God, like, why me, bro? I do way better things than this person and that person and this person. Why I'm the one going through all this?
Yeah.
He said he heard God say, because they don't belong to me, you do. And I was like, God.
And the Bible says, good things happen to the righteous and the unrighteous. So we can't tell based off people's blessings and what they're getting if they're a follower of God. Like, you can't really tell. So just because they're blessed, that doesn't mean it's from God. You know what I'm
Exactly.
saying? So you got to be a little careful.
Boy, the devil will bless you too, boy.
And he know the word. And he know the word.
Who know?
He can quote the word too.
He was there every step of the way.
He show us.
Come on now. What are we doing? Cause we sit up here and we say these. We grew up in the inner city, grew up in black communities, and we say certain sayings and we don't realize what we saying. Our whole life we say the devil is a lie, and don't even realize he be lying to us for real. All he do is twist the words, make it sound good, and have you running off a cliff. And it's just like, man, how did I find myself in this position? But the thing is, what I do want to do is encourage people behind when you're giving effort, and it seems like your effort is going in vain. Things are not happening for you in your life. Bro, keep going. Sometimes, bro, it's somebody in your life that blessing that God has given you is not meant for them. And God has been telling you for years to let this person go. But right now you're just not being obedient. So sometimes that blessing is being tarnished because it's somebody that you need to let go. God don't want that blessing is not made to touch this person because God heard conversations that you ain't hear. So just keep going. Just because it may not be working right now, all these years, regardless of what avenue, what field you were in, all that stuff was building you up for this arena, which has nothing to do with what you've been doing the previous 10 years. So just keep going, man, and don't lose hope. Just keep doing what you're doing. And like I said, bro, I want to commend you once again for being able to like speak on that because it takes a lot.
It does, but it's part of my journey.
100%.
I have to say it.
100%.
God wants me to, because again, like you say, we just lost a girl at our school that committed suicide.
Well, I just
she
heard
was in
about that.
7th grade. You know, like, and you talking about somebody that every time I see her, she was a very happy girl.
That's how it always is.
Like, the people who are hurt the most smile the most.
Smile the most
because they don't know what to do with that emotion.
Bro, I be having to like speak to people about this. One thing about me, I've always been somebody who I just naturally pay attention to patterns and how people act, how people speak, how they react to certain things. And throughout my life, picking up on these patterns and learning different characters, I always tell people, like, listen, bro, you see that boy over there smiling? He always happy? Don't get in that man's bad side because it gets crazy. I promise you it gets crazy. That man always positive. He always has a positive message, or she always has a positive message, always has a smile on their face. They're just always happy. Why? Because it's not that their days are all perfect. It's that they look past the imperfections of those days, and they focus on the great things that's going on in this day. Now, if you get on that person's bad side, you wish you never did that, bro. I promise you. Because that person worked towards that peace. And if you ruin that for them, good luck. So people got to keep that in mind, man. When you see somebody that's always smiling, bro, it's a story behind those smiles. It's something real deep. And I had a guy, one of my boys in college. Shout out my boy Manny Brisbane. He from Sierra Leone, born and raised in Sierra Leone. And I'm young. I'm a sophomore in college, and I'm like, bro. I asked one of my other dogs, Sean. I say, bro, why? Like, man, he always happy, bro. He always smiling, dog. Like, that's your cry. He always. And Sean was like, bro, you ever talk to Manny? I was like, yeah, bro, I'm a dog. He's like, no. Have you ever like talked to Manny? I'm like, no, I guess. He was like, bro, go holler at Manny. And if he tell you his story, you'll see why he always smiling. The man went through some craziness in Africa. Like you know the movie Blood Diamond?
Yeah.
Something like that. So that's when I realized, like, oh, that's why he always smile. That man wake up every day. For one, he in school. And he's in America. He don't got to, like, I said, okay. It makes a lot of sense now. That's why that boy always got a smile on his face, because he appreciate the little things now because of his life experiences as a young kid. And I'm like, man, but that junk different, bro. So
Sure.
let's take it back a little bit. Let's take it back to college. Why'd you decide to go to Eastern Illinois?
I went to Eastern because I lost quite a bit of scholarships when I was in high school. So I broke my ankle like the second or third game of my senior year. Now, mind you, I was all-state corner. I moved to safety my junior, senior year, and then my senior year, I got hurt, but it was around hurricane season, so we missed like 3 or 4 games. And then there was a camp coming up. It was a Georgia camp, and our coach sent one person to the Georgia camp. I love you, Coach Walker, but you sent one person.
Shout out Coach Walker.
Shout out Coach Walker,
Shout
man.
out
Coach
Coach
Walker, you sent one person to the Georgia camp, which was the guy I went to school with, was Donovan. And he ran a 4.3. Yeah. He got offered, and then he committed to Georgia. And at that time, I had like FAU, FIU. I was talking to like Tennessee, UCF. Now, back then, FIU, they weren't really top-tier schools. No one really wanted to go there. Yeah. But then Florida came along, was like, hey, Donovan, we'll take you and him if you come to Florida. Well, package. Back then, they should do like package deals. Yeah. And he didn't want to go. He was like, nah, I don't want to upset. I want to stay at Georgia. So I had to respect it. And, you know, at the time, I just lost so many other scholarships because I was hurt. So I ended up going to Eastern Illinois, which is like the last school left. I was going to walk on to Notre Dame because of my relationship I had with Archie. But I'm like, I don't want to walk on to a school. Yeah. You know, because I don't get treated like a walk-on. I'm like, man, I'm going to take whatever I got left. And it came down to FAU and Eastern Illinois. And I talked to my sister about it, my older sister, Karen, now, and she was like, man, you need to get away. Don't stay home. Go get away. Go see something different. Yeah. And I was like, you know what? You're right. So that's kind of why I ended up going to East Illinois. But when I looked on the roster, I was like, it's like 30, 40 people from the crib up here. Oh, these were all the ballers went. I was wondering where all these dudes went that I played against, or I would see names in the newspapers. I'm like, oh, he up here? Yeah. So it felt comfortable to go up there, and that's kind of when I met Coach Rock. Okay. Which was the main reason why a lot of us went up there. Now, he's currently the D-line coach for the Auburn Tigers. Okay. He was my defensive coordinator at Eastern Illinois, and that's kind of how I was able to get there. And then, man, the rest was history after that.
That's what's up, man. And we spoke about earlier how you came out of college and you decided to head back to your alma mater to coach. Yes. And I just spoke to my boy T. Lee, and he was talking about how he's coaching with his old high school coach. How important do you feel it is for that full circle moment to happen, coming from a school and going back and giving back in that way?
Man, that's all I had. When I came back, mind you, I did my internship with Bon Burrito Performance. Shout out to Pete. He taught me so much. He basically gave me the game. And again, I want to stay attached to sports. And then once I started at the school, I started off just coaching at first. It was just a little stipend. And then at some point, the owner of the school was like, you know, I want you to, you know, be a PE teacher. And then I was like, yeah, PE teacher? Like, what grades? I want you to do kindergarten to like 8th grade. Mind you, I never taught before. But like, this can be a stepping stone into a door that I need. Okay, like, so it was a desperation for me. Like, man, I got this degree. I'm sitting here coaching, but there's nothing full time. My daddy putting pressure on me at the house. You know, what is this transition gonna look like? Yeah, you know, because you know, my parents Jamaican, so you coming home bringing in $300 a week. Yeah, dad like, what you doing? Yeah. Oh, yeah, I do. I ain't got no degree. I'm making more money than you. what we doing? And that's how my dad spoke to me, and I love
Yeah.
him for it. Because he really made me, change my mindset. And I was like, man. So when the owner came to me, was like, man, I want you to be a PE teacher. I jumped on it immediately. So I started coaching, and I was coaching, and I was teaching PE, and it was like perfect at the time where I was aligned.
Yeah.
And I was just in a perfect position. And I'm the type of person, man, I'm a team player, man. So like whatever role I have, I'm gonna do it to the best of my ability. If I'm playing music for the kids for the game, we finna have all the best songs. They finna come out, and they gonna enjoy this when they come out for pregame.
Yeah.
Or if it's Bible study, or if it's just seeing them in throughout the day in school and knowing that I've been through their process. And it's like, man, let me pour back into them, while I'm here. And it was some of the most fun I ever had, man. Like, because, again, I had a chance to be around you, Sony, Pat, Tyson. It's just so many different type of kids. And that's why I realized, too, as a coach, you're almost, I wouldn't say you're a pastor, but you're like, you have the kids are your congregation.
100%.
And you're pouring into those kids to help groom them. You might not be on a pulpit, but your pulpit is the football field.
100%.
And I would use that, and I'm pretty sure a lot of coaches use that as a way to get through these kids because they need to be groomed. It takes that village. So,
100%.
man, I tip my hats off to coaching, and it did so much for me and taught me so much about how to deal with different people, different type of personalities, whether it's coaches, whether it's players. And just knowing how to relate and knowing where to fit in, where you don't go over beyond, try to do too much, but do the job that you're asked to do and do it to the best of your ability. And that's kind of was my role, with my alma mater.
That's what's up, man. So, and also with the alma mater, coaching PE, coaching those kids, coaching football, and then brings about Kids in Shape. Let's talk about Kids in Shape.
Oh, let's talk about it.
Let's talk about Kids in Shape. Kids in Shape
baby.
going crazy. You just came back from an event.
I just did an event. That was at Watkins. That was the last event I just did.
Okay.
That was the last event I just did with Watkins Elementary.
How did Kids in Shape come about?
Man, like I said earlier, the loss of the kids. And what's crazy is when I got this logo made, crazy story. I went to my graphic designer. I said, man, I want to get a Kids in Shape logo. Because how this happened, I was in Hawks Landing, which is a private neighborhood in Plantation. And I was training kids for basketball. Why? Sports. And a parent came to me and was like, do you train kids just to stay in shape? And I was like, bing.
Yeah.
I'm trying to focus on this sport. She just asked me, do I train kids just to stay in shape? And I was like, yeah, I do.
Yeah.
Mind you, I didn't because my first company is actually called Unique Performance System. See, I was in the realm of sports. UPS.
Yeah.
We're on time. We coming to
Yeah.
That was my whole theme with my sports training. And then when I started doing the basketball training at Hawks and the parent came and was like, I just want my kid to stay in shape. He doesn't play sport. That was when I was like, yo, I'm sitting here trying to do
something with this.
I'm trying to focus on the 2%. What about the other 98?
Yeah.
And that was when I went to my graphic designer and I said, I need you to help me create a logo that represents all kids.
That's fine.
And I was like, I want a boy, I want a girl, I want an other or whatever. Just give me, I want 3 kids on my logo. So I got a logo made. I saw it. I was like, oh, this is perfect.
Yeah.
Got a logo made. 2 weeks later, I start training that kid. Then more kids started to jump on that session with that same kid. And at the time, I was like, I'm thinking that it was God. It was the spirit that came to me. It was like, I got you. I just kept hearing, I got you. And then when I looked at the logo, I was like, wait a minute. I lost 3 kids. It's 3 kids on here. Mind you, I did the logo before I even thought about how many kids I lost. And I was like, it's 3 kids on here. You lost 3 kids. And that was like a whoa moment, like, man, you're going to be covered with this. So today, how people see my company, I saw this like 4 or 5 years ago.
100%. When you said,
I been saw it.
Bro, I just watched a video about leadership. And it said, obviously I'm a paraphrase and it's not exact words, but it was talking about how the leaders of this world, the ones that we know, the Martin Luther Kings, the Malcolm X's, as a leader in this world, you're typically there's no such thing. It was talking about there's no such thing as a bad leader. It's just you're a leader at the wrong time. So leadership is we praise these people after they pass away, because essentially you're ahead of your time. By the time people realize your vision, you're already gone, and they're like, "Oh, that's what he was trying to do." So when you say that what people see today with your company is what you seen 4 years ago, it touches on imagination, touches on vision, and it touches on that leadership quality that you possess. It's like, bro, I seen this already. And like you spoke earlier, people want to see this thing moving. They don't want to jump on it yet.
No.
It's like, I got to see this going
I got
first.
to give it to my dog, Tone. Tone always say, don't nobody want to be first, but don't nobody want to be last.
Yeah.
Don't nobody want to be the first one to be like, hey, man, you doing an event? Let me be the one let me put something on that.
Right now.
But then when it starts to become cool, it's like, hey, I'm with you. I see what you're trying to do.
Hey, you ever tried this? You ever did this? But if you do this, it'll, and it's like.
Yeah, but to me, it's flattering because I'm glad that they see it now. I'm glad that other people see it. Because again, man, it's not about me. It's about helping other kids. And when we say every child deserves a chance, it's deeper than just, exercise.
Yeah.
Like, that's part of it. But like, certain kids don't fall in certain groups socially. So I've noticed when we give kids, because free time is a big thing in Kids in Shape. Like for 5 or 10 minutes after they do all the exercises, they get like a free time. Throw the football around, dribble the soccer ball.
Just be a kid.
Be a kid.
Yeah.
But in those moments, I noticed how many kids didn't have a group that they felt comfortable around. So I was like, man, this kid, when we say free time, he or she walks by himself holding something and just walk around the field. Those are the kids we go grab and say, nah, come join us. We're playing soccer. Come be a part of this. Or we're playing Connect 4.
Yeah.
Or we're playing cards. Join us. Because those kids don't have that social awareness of how to speak and how to say certain things. So you really want them to have that opportunity. So that's really the jinx of the company, is give every child a chance, not just with fitness in the groups that they find their the people that they feel comfortable around, but also just how do you get to a point where you feel comfortable, and be able to chase whatever it is that you want, whatever dreams or aspiration that you're looking to have. And, that's why the nonprofit work that we've done, man, I've done since 2-3 years ago, I've done 10 events. I've raised over $45,000. And we impacted over 1,000 to 1,500 kids. Yeah. And really we're barely scratching the surface. I'm not even close to what I see versus what we've already done. So I want to say this on camera and on the mic is to thank you to everybody that has donated to Kids in Shape, because there is no company without your donations. 100%. You donated when it wasn't as cool. Right? Like, you donated on the first event.
You a dog, bro.
I appreciate it, but it wasn't cool then, and I'd planned this whole event, and I was like, man, this bounce house costs $600. I'm not gonna cover it. We're like 5 days from this event. Yeah. Then I seen that notification come through, and I seen Mark and Michelle. I said, yo. That's why I called. I was like, man, do you know you just paid for the bounce house at this event? And from that, once that started, then I feel like the ball kept rolling, and people were more involved with, kind of what I was doing, trying to build.
No, for sure, man. So. And I think a lot of the times, even in a moment like that, most of the times that early support comes from people who done been there. Where I know what it feel like to not feel supported. So that's why, regardless, bro, listen, I don't need to see nothing, bro. You got a dream and a goal. You know what I'm saying? If I can, because the thing about it is I was going to take this and go buy sneakers anyway. So it's like, all right, bro.
And you put a smile on
I want to see
50 kids
exactly
face.
Like, I genuinely want to see people win. So, like, bro, you was finna go to a restaurant, one of your favorite restaurants, and buy this expensive meal for what? Like, come on, man. So I encourage people, bro. At the end of the day, don't just go throwing your money at anything.
No, absolutely not.
If somebody got a vision and a plan, you like, bro, this man's trying to work towards something, or this woman's trying to work towards something. sometimes money ain't always the thing. Sometimes get your time.
Yeah. And that's
Show
the thing.
up.
Like when I first started nonprofit world, it was like, oh, I see why people get behind certain causes.
Mm-hmm.
Like I haven't been super close affected by cancer. I never donated to cancer.
Mm-hmm.
Right. But I'm pretty sure if somebody that's really, really close to me get affected by a disease that, causes them to lose their life, I'm pretty sure I'm going to be behind that new cause.
100%.
And that was the first thing when you start a nonprofit. It was like, how do I get people to get involved with what I'm doing? Like this is not easy, And then once you start putting yourself out there and you're showing people your vision and the story matches the purpose
100%.
with what I do.
Yeah.
A lot of times people have a good business, but there's no story behind the business. It's just a business.
Bro, okay. I'm gonna give some people a secret. It might go over some people's heads, some people might not understand it. I had seen this thing, bro. Nike don't sell sports apparel. They sell elite. Like they sell greatness. Disney don't sell roller coasters. They sell memories. And until you realize that as a business, you're not selling a product, you're selling a feeling, then you'll make it. And once that dawned on me, I said, I get it now. You think that, let's be honest, you think that Balenciaga, their stuff is that good looking?
No.
Hell no. It's the fact that when you put it on, now you feel like you're elite. You got $20 in your bank account, but you got this Gucci shirt on. You feel like you one of them. It's the feeling of putting that on. That's what keeps them people at the top. So once you start to sell a feeling, an experience, you won.
Amen.
You feel me? You won. So we are out of time, and I need these people they need some words of encouragement. Anything you want to leave with the people before we get up out of here, words of encouragement, anything to motivate them, to keep them grounded, whether it's humility, whether it's prayer, anything.
Man, I would say don't let nobody talk you out of your dream. I remember when I first decided to say, man, I want to stop doing something that I've been doing my whole life, and I want to go out here on the ledge and try something different. But I've had my imagination stripped away from me. I've had my situation and my purpose pulled away. How do I get this to another level? I would say the biggest thing is to always don't let nobody steal your joy and your dream and your vision, because you have something special in you. It's just how do you bring it out? And certain people are going to try to take it out of you in a way that, it's not out of love. It's out of envy and hate. And you have to be able to go past that and continue, because they're there to deteriorate you from chasing your goal.
100%.
Like, why are you doing that? That ain't going to work.
Yeah.
Ooh. Like, man, kids in shape. What? You doing that?
Yeah.
You don't want to be around football no more? You don't want to coach no more?
Right.
And it was like, I do want to be around football. I love football, but
is that society putting their own identity on you? Like, bro, this is who you are.
Yes,
bro.
This is what you are. You're a football player.
You don't do that.
You're a football coach.
You do this.
Yeah. Don't try to do nonprofit work. Why? Why are you doing that?
Yeah.
What's the point? Did you do football?
Yeah, for sure.
But
and that's just the word putting you in that box.
It's a box that they're trying to put you in. And I didn't. At first, I allowed it. It was hard because
I feel like we all do.
Oh my God, it was hard.
Especially as an athlete.
It was hard, man.
Like, what job that you've been doing since you were 5? You've been doing the same thing since you were 5. You became an adult and was playing a child's game and getting paid for it. Like,
yeah.
Like, it don't get no harder than that to detach from something like that. This is literally all I know.
But that's why I challenge even the kids. It's like, football is going to be your way. That's the talent that God's given you, but it's just a vehicle to get you to your main purpose.
100%.
Like, it's okay to go join that club after school. It's okay. It's okay to be a part of that club.
I literally tell student athletes when they're going to college, I tell them, bro, listen, when you get to college, football is the main thing.
Yes.
Do other things, bro. Join clubs. Be a part of Black Student Union.
Yeah.
Be a part of try to run for student body president. Do these other things. Because I had a semester in college where I wasn't playing ball. That was the best semester of my life.
Mhm.
And I had a ball because I got involved on campus. And so I always encourage student athletes, dog, focus on the game. But if you get an opportunity to do other things on campus, experience college to its fullness. Go out there and do other things, bro.
And on that note, and again, at the time I wasn't, because what if I was involved in after school programs and giving up my time? The nonprofit work probably would have became a lot sooner, possibly, just not guaranteed, but it possibly could have happened a lot sooner because I was already a part of that when I was in high school, or when I got to college, I was already doing extra stuff.
Absolutely.
It wasn't until I got as an adult and I had to go through all this pain and all this loss to be like, all right, I don't want my kid's name to go in vain, so I need to go back and give to every other kid in the country so I can try to fill this void that I'm having in my heart right now.
Absolutely.
That was the biggest change of, my kid's name is not going to go in vain. I'm going to find a way to chase this dream and chase this vision. Now I'm working with American Heart Association, Autism Speaks, Kids in Distress, Boys and Girls Club, Watkins Elementary, Walker Elementary, American Heritage School, both campuses,
That's amazing,
Exceed Prep, which is a school that I have my after school program at, that I don't post about it, but I was there all year. They have 7 locations.
Why have you not posted? Excuses.
No, it's just I didn't want to see people grow. I didn't want everybody to see what I was doing so fast, because I didn't want them to see that the current situation that I had, I wasn't putting my all into it. So that's why I didn't really post about it. But Exceed Prep is another private school that has 7 locations. My older brother who lives in Indianapolis, his old high school coach is the owner of this Exceed Prep and Sagemont.
Okay.
So, like, I have a relationship with this person where we might be in 2 or 3 more locations as an after-school program starting next school year.
Got you.
On top of American Heritage. And then, we didn't even speak about Staff and Shape. Staff and Shape, where we can go to any business and put on a stretch class, or do a sound bath, or do a weight training class. And that's any place of business, not just a school. And this has been given to me. I won't say given to me, but it was an idea of the owner of American Heritage. And it's crazy because the people who I wanted to help, who I thought was going to help, they didn't help.
Of course.
And the people who I least expected to help me,
that's
dog, this man basically gave me the green light. Like, we got on a meeting, and we can end it like this, but we got on a meeting, and we had a meeting with both campuses, because like we do like cross campus meetings, right, and we get on a call, and this is, mind you, I met with him and said, man, I want to grow my business, Kids in Shape. I met with him personally. I want to grow this business. And I was like, I want to add it for grades 7 through 12. He was like, man, I don't really think that's your market. You're talking like kids. Older kids don't like to be called kids. No, focus on the lower school. And then we got into a call with both campuses, admin, security, the dining staff. Everybody's on this call from both campuses. So he's like, all right, Seymour, tell them about yourself. I said, I'm alumni, I graduated 2005. He's like, nah. Tell them the good stuff. And mind you, I'm on a call like, tell them the good stuff. So I'm saying, hey, this is Kids in Shape. I run this, and, we're going to start this Staff in Shape company to help relieve some stress from our staff members. He's like, all right, here we're going to do. We're going to add this to the other campus. Mind you, he never told me this in person. He never told me on the call.
You learned all this.
I learned all this with everybody else on the call. He's like, are you going to be able to handle that? I said, yes. Ain't interview nobody, ain't talk to nobody. But I was like, I'm going to figure it out.
Yeah.
And he empowered me, man, like to the point where I want you to get in front of our staff twice a year and tell them about Staff in Shape. Tell them your story. It's crazy because every time I've gone to him, I don't think he ever told me no. Every idea that I brought to him, he said yes to. And because I have a plan, and I come to him and say, this is what I want to do. So it's been a great ride so far, man. But to answer your question that you asked me earlier, if it's one thing I would tell somebody, don't let nobody take you out of your dream. Don't let nobody take you out of your vision. Keep that imagination that you had when you were a kid, right? And as you get older and you realize, hey, mom is just as human as I am. Okay, now it's our time to really go hard on what we want to do and what we envision ourselves. And don't be afraid to go out there on your own. No one's going out there with you.
Facts.
You're going to have to take this trip alone. You're going to have to make it cool for them to be like, man, I'm rocking with this now.
He doing something.
And it's okay.
For sure.
Don't look at people who are rocking with you now like, man, you weren't with me back then. No, God didn't give them the vision. He gave you the vision. So if they don't see it, it's okay. Don't hold it against them. Like, right? So that was my heart. Like, man, nah, you weren't messing with me when you was laughing at me. Mm-hmm. I remember y'all was laughing. Fact. You know, when I first started this, Fact. Not knowing this is deeper than just a business. This is my kid's legacy that I would not let go in vain. So you laughing, you really got me on one.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I don't take it as a joke.
For sure.
Right? So don't let nobody pull you out of your dream, man. Continue to chase whatever God has for you, and don't be afraid to go out on that boat alone. And people are going to start pucking holes in your boat. Mm-hmm. Just keep patching it up.
Yeah.
They're going to try to put holes in your boat. Keep patching. Ooh. Okay, they put a hole. All right, let me go and grab this masking tape.
Patch it up. Ooh.
Man, patch it up and just keep riding.
Yeah.
Don't go back to try to, why you put a hole in my boat? Yeah. Man, because that's what the enemy wanted him to do. That's what he's supposed to do that. Don't let it bother you. I've got to a point where I don't even address things that ain't bringing me no peace. I just posted this like 2 days ago. Mm. If you're putting out bad energy is going to come back and find you in ways that you're not going to expect it to come back. Mm-hmm. So don't put out negative energy. Put out positivity. And that goes back to having integrity. Everything that you do, have integrity, right? When I'm working at school, I don't tense up when the president walk around because I'm doing my job.
No, facts.
I don't need to and some people can't.
Facts. Some
people can't. So chase your dream. Don't let nobody take nothing from you. And when people start putting holes in the boat, just keep patching it up, man.
Amen to that.
You know what I'm saying?
Hey, man, like I said, CC, I appreciate you, brother.
Appreciate it. My first podcast, bro. You might have started something, man.
Listen, I'm telling you, God ain't do this for no reason, now.
Hey, I got to get my story out there. And I think what you're doing is great, man.
I appreciate
Don't let the views, don't let people's negativity deter you from you. Got to be consistent. Just keep being consistent. Mm-hmm. You know, you got the process. You got the people that you need. You got your setup. Just keep going. And remember, aisle or window.
Aisle or window,
what
bro.
You like? What you like? Let me ask you a question before we get out here.
Talk to me.
Do you like the aisle or the window?
Me, I'm a window seat guy.
Why?
For one, I guess I'm gonna hit it on both ends.
Okay.
Right? Because we did talk about this. So for me, I like comfort. I like if I'm on the plane, I want to sit. I want to sit by the window because I can lean and fall asleep. Mm. But in life, I like to face my problems head on. I don't want to sit in the aisle seat and not see what's going on outside. I want to sit by the window and see that. Damn, it's a possibility you can go down, boy. But I won't. I got faith that this plane gonna stay up. So I like to face my problems head on.
That's a good point. I'm gonna say this before we go. I like the window, but for a totally different reason. I don't like flying. I need to see that. Hey, man, I need to feel. Yeah. So I want to see out of curiosity that if it's getting a little cloudy, I know we're going to expect a little turbulence. So you like the window for a whole different reason. I like the window because I don't like to fly. And I need to see how high we are. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? I need to see how high we are.
Yeah.
So that's crazy because we both like the window, but I like it for a whole different reason. I don't like to fly.
Could the thing honestly? So with the idea of like you said, you like to sit at the window because you want to see what's coming to prepare for it.
And I'm afraid.
The thing is, my whole life I've tried to do that, and God has showed me, bro, stop trying to prepare for it. Just let it go and let me handle it. In the moment that I truly did that, God did his thing. God did his thing. I'm talking about. The one moment that I know that I realized that, bro, I don't want to say gave up, because it does feel like I gave up. Because I legitimately was like, bro, I've tried this, I've tried that, I've did this, I've done that, and it's still not working. Mm-hmm. All right, bro, I'm done, bro. Whatever happens to me, bro, it is what it is. It was 3 months before I realized that I had what I wanted. For 3 months, I had what I wanted, didn't even realize it. And I was like, and when it dawned on me, I said, what the? And that's when it hit me like, bro, you finally let God, you let God do his thing. You stop trying to do God's job for him. But it's hard doing that now. Like, back then, it's almost like I gave up. Now it's like, bro, just let God do his thing. I don't know how to give up. Like, it's like with the intention. I don't have the intention of giving up.
Mm-hmm.
It's just it almost seems as though it has to be something that just goes completely left. Or I just don't have no more ammo left in the clip.
Mm-hmm. And I got to say this too, for all my former athletes or athletes that are playing, you're bigger than the game.
That's I was just about
You're
to lead
bigger
with
than
that.
You have way more in you.
Yeah.
The game was a driving force to get you to another purpose. So if you're doing something and you're frustrated and it's not working, that's probably not what God wants you to do anymore.
Right.
You've graduated from that level. Now it's time to level up. The gray area, your last play from high school, it could be college, it could be in the pros. No matter what sport you play, after that last play, you have to figure it out.
100%.
Right? And trying to figure that out is hard. I'm 38. I figured it out like 3 years ago.
Yeah.
You know, I'm late. In my mind, I feel like I'm late, actually.
So you and you feel like you're late because of society standards, bro.
I agree.
You feel like
I agree.
you feel like you're late because of society standards. Because society is trying to tell you that you're supposed to be a millionaire at 23, and it's like, bro, what in what world? Like in where?
In the social media world.
In the social media world,
Which is not real.
The thing is, there's two different sets of standards that everybody lives by.
How do you be real on a fake platform?
On a fake platform. You got social media standards and you got real life standards. You got some people, you'll meet them in person, they're completely different from what you see on the internet.
Yes.
And it's like, dude, now I can't even trust you because I don't even know which person you are. So.
And two, because I catch myself doing it sometimes too, I don't, like the applauds, I'm getting a lot of pat on the, I'm getting a lot of,
let me tell you something.
Pat on my back now.
I'm talking to you, but I need to talk to them too.
Please.
Understand something. Coach Ron Rivera said this. He said, be careful with getting the pats on the back and enjoying that.
I won't take it.
When people are patting you on the back, all they doing is looking for a soft spot to stab you.
I don't take it.
I
take it like, yeah, okay, appreciate it. But on the other side, it's like, no, because that stuff, just like when you're a player, the more attention you get, the more stars you get. You have to humble yourself, or you have to have a village around you that's willing to humble you, so you stay grounded.
Yeah, 100%. Because it's very easy to get lost in the
It's very easy because attention does that, and attention is a new drug now. Like, it's a new drug.
Man.
Forget money. I want attention.
Yeah.
You know, and
That's
it's
facts.
like, again, while you're trying to chase your vision and you know, I would say build your team. We didn't get in this top conversation, but you know, business and being able to start one and understanding certain steps that it takes to start a business. A lot of people don't understand those steps. Where it comes to LLC, trademarks, having an accounting, graphic designer. You need like 4 or 5 people on your team to make your business run smoothly.
For
you know,
sure.
so you do eventually going to need a team. Eventually, when you start off doing something, you're going to be playing all the roles. But as you grow in the business, that's my biggest thing now. I'm at the point where I need an assistant because I can't schedule all my instructors.
ChatGPT.
I heard about Chat.
They say ChatGPT is a new assistant, boy. It's people that's real.
ChatGPT taking people's jobs,
boy.
man.
Boy, people out here that real deal talk to ChatGPT all day long. Like something wrong.
I didn't know how many people actually use that.
Man, listen.
Whether they're sending an email or putting out a proposal.
Yeah.
They put it in ChatGPT and then they find out what they say or she said, whoever runs it, and then they turn around and use that as part of their way.
100%.
I mean, I use it too. You know,
I'm still trying to figure it out, but if it's gonna help, well, I'm gonna use it.
Absolutely.
Shoot.
But nah, man, I appreciate you having me. And,
man, I appreciate you pulling up on me, dog.
More podcasts coming in the
Absolutely.
future because I feel like my story needs to be out there and it's part of me, you know, getting through the other kids. And, you know, like I always say, I will not let my kid's name go in vain.
Brother,
Kids
your
in shape.
story
Every child deserves a chance.
will be great.
Amen.
You feel what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
But hey, man, this was another episode of Out the Window Podcast. Like I said, I am the maestro, Fly Guy HG, and I'm gonna leave y'all with this, man. Whatever profession that you're in, that is what you do. That is not who you are. The thing that you wake up every single day and what you go to sleep every day thinking about, that's an idea of what God has put on your heart for you to do in your life. So take heed to that information. And as always, with love.